Hi everyone, I am Ana Baltazar. I am from Universidade Federal de Minas Gerais, in Brazil, in Belo Horizonte, at the School of Architecture. I belong to the research group LAGEAR, which means Graphics Laboratory for Architectural Experience. And this conversational proposal here, I will ask Serena, the computer voice, to help me to read it.
Serena trying to read and help Anna with the poor English. Is it cybernetic or only a poor use of a closed system? The provisory title of this conversation is Rethinking Cybernetics with a Transfunctional Approach to Structure and Organization. This proposal for conversation is motivated by a series of emails exchanged between Ranulph Glanville and myself in 2007, after I contributed with a paper to his edited special double issue of Kybernetics on cybernetics and design. At that time I was starting to wonder about the impossibility of Maturana's definition of autopoiesis in the context of an open process approach to architecture. In my view, such an open process approach to architecture was definitely cybernetic, although it was not autopoietic, as autopoiesis is central to cybernetics, and if we understand it with Maturana as a system with defined borders, we can only think of people in this system as observers, never as part of the system, interacting in relation with each other and with the system. I asked Glanville for help, sending him a long email with my reasoning, as I was quite suspicious of the limited view of biological systems to define second-order cybernetics, excluding the richness of relations to focus on the structural closeness of the systems. Glanville was also puzzled, saying that my views are interesting and challenging, and to deal with them we should write a book, which we never did, but we engaged in a conversation that raised important questions to keep on working with. The main questions were, if we take cybernetics as a relationship between humans and machines, and not as a closed predetermined system, is it possible to put autopoiesis in the center of the discussion, in the center of the definition of cybernetics? Would it be possible, at all, to take cybernetics as a relationship and not as a closed system? Ranulph proposed that I actually looked at when closeness happens in an open system, avoiding the risk to take behavior and information for organization. Glanville suggested that I should differentiate between organizational closure and novelty of outcome, as a formal conversation between two people is both organizationally closed and an almost inevitable generator of novelty. In order to move further, the definition of structure and organization is helpful. Maturana and Varela say that the relations that define a machine as a unity and determine the dynamics of interactions and transformations which it may undergo as such a unity constitute the organization of the machine. The actual relations which hold among the components which integrate a concrete machine in a given space constitute its structure. They say that organization and structure are distinct but related, and organization is the primary determinant of stability of a system. Maturana argues that self-contained systems will have a fixed organization, and if the organization changes, the system collapses. This is illustrated with two common examples, a wooden table and a toilet. A wooden table might have a limited amount of its wooden structure cut off but keep itself as a table, while its organization might be identified as that of a table, but on further cuts it might be impossible to use it as a table, so the system has no longer the organization of a table, losing its stability as a unity. As for the other example, regardless of the materials used to make the parts of a toilet, it will still be a toilet if its organization is that of a toilet. Changing materials means changing structure, not changing the machine as a unity, its organization. In both cases, which are truly autopoietic, structure and organization match in order to keep the machine unity. Structure predicts organization, and if organization changes, the system collapses. But we can ask, if is it possible to have a cybernetic system that is value-free, as proposed by Cedric Price for his cybernetic architecture, a system that is described by relations instead of substances, a system that has no prescribed match between structure and organization. 13 years after the emails exchanged with Ranulph Glanville, I see myself much more confident to challenge the centrality of autopoiesis in cybernetics. I wonder if cybernetics might propose a non-direct relationship between structure and organization, questioning autopoiesis. I will try and develop this questioning further by drawing from my practical work, the design of interfaces with which people can keep on designing, changing the structures or not, but always inventing unpredictable organizations. Such interfaces are looked at as closed or open structures that do not prescribe organization. That is, regardless of being open or closed, The structures transcend a functional organization, they are value-free and their organization is open. Drawing on Cedric Price's philosophy of enabling, novelty happens when a structure enables people to define the system's organization. This is quite different from a conversation, which keeps a match between structure and organization, although generating novelty as an outcome, in terms of the issues discussed, not of the conversational system itself. The interface I will show is not very different from Lego bricks, as every good design that promotes conviviality, which is not over-designed, as says by Evan H., there is a risk to be captured in prescribed creator box, predefining organization. However, the main drive of Lego is the one in the classic box, in which there is a structure that opens up a range of possibilities for unpredictable organizations and also unpredictable outcomes. We have been designing a range of interfaces, but I will show here one that is similar to classic Lego, which has been used in a variety of contexts by different groups. It is the interface of spatiality. It was designed as a value-free structure, with no prescribed function, but pregnant with unpredictable possibilities. In Gilles Deleuze and Pierre Levy's sense, it is virtual, a structure created as a latent event, an event that needs interaction, be it by attributing value or appropriating. This is also that which Willem Fluisser calls post-historical structure, images that order concepts, contrasting it with prehistorical superficial images and with historical linear writing. With the same set, the interface of spatiality, a group of people have created a space to contemplate the cityscape in an artistic proposal of occupying vacant lots for temporary public use in Belo Horizonte. In another context, the same interface was put together by an indigenous group conforming around space, enabling the native Brazilians to raise concrete issues related to their spatial practices instead of adapting themselves to vague and abstract discursive practices. Yet in a different context, this time a favela, the same interface was used by a group of teenagers to organize a space. Similarly to the native Brazilians, they were able to draw from their concrete spatial practices instead of attempting abstract discursive practices. This has proven quite effective to understand the different processes of production of space in action. The way people look and deal with at the structure might lead to different organizations, as structure does not predict organization, but is designed to enable its unpredictability. The outcome is the organization. So novelty of the outcome also means organizational novelty. This also means that the structure is intended as virtual, as something that transcends the predictability of function. It is not monofunctional, neither multifunctional. When structure and organization do not match, there is a place for transfunctionality. Nevertheless, like Lego bricks, one might propose a predictable match between the structure, the set of pieces, and organization, a predictable, prescribed outcome. But what interests here is to design for experience and not designing experience prescribing experience. So, systems are events, not substances, then virtual, open, transfunctional. The questions we might ask from that brief reasoning are: is it possible to rethink cybernetic with this relational and transfunctional approach, breaking with the interdependence between structure and organization? Is it possible to think of cybernetic not only in the substantial aspects of the systems but on their relational aspects? Can transfunctional design help to challenge autopoiesis in cybernetics? Thank you.